Apple has spent almost 10 years avoiding foldables, while Samsung, Google, and half of China built an entire category without them. Now, with weeks to go before launch, we finally have hard numbers. Not vague, it'll be thin leaks, but actual measurements. And a couple of them are genuinely surprising, including one detail buried in a case leak that tells us something Apple hasn't said out loud yet. Every foldable phone has the same problem, that visible dent down the middle of the screen. Samsung's current Z Fold measures around 0.3 millimeters deep. Apple's version is reportedly coming in under 0.15 millimeters, with a fold angle under 2.5 degrees, less than half as deep. That's not marketing language, that's an actual spec from supply chain sources, and it's a big deal because the crease is the single biggest complaint about every foldable on the market right now. If those numbers hold, Apple may have solved the one problem that's kept people away from this category for years. Just to clear up the confusion, this isn't a clamshell like a razor. It opens like a book, going from a roughly 5.5-inch outer screen to a 7.8-inch tablet-sized display when unfolded. Closer in spirit to an iPad mini than a folding flip phone. Multiple dummy units have leaked, showing a wide passport shape, which is noticeably different from the taller, narrower design most people expected a year ago. Face ID is out. The sensor array is apparently too thick to fit in a foldable body this thin, so Apple's going back to Touch ID, built into the side power button. Same idea as the iPad Air. Here's the part that hasn't gotten much attention. Leaked case cutouts show a camera control button is staying, but there's no cutout for the action button. That's the button every Pro iPhone has shipped with since the 15 Pro. If that leak holds, it means Apple made a deliberate space trade-off on this device. And if you're someone who actually uses the action button daily, that's worth knowing before you put down $2,000. Inside, expect the same A20 chip on a 2nm process as the 18 Pro lineup, paired with Apple's in-house C2 modem, the same modem family that already made the iPhone Air's battery life punch above its weight. 12 gigabytes of RAM is expected, which lines up with proper multitasking on that bigger, unfolded screen. Think side-by-side apps, not just a bigger single window. The battery isn't one cell, it's two, one on each side of the hinge, adding up to just under 4,900 mAh combined. On paper, that's smaller than the iPhone 18 Pro Max, but in real use, it likely won't feel that way. When the phone's folded shut and you're using the small outer screen, it'll sip power like a normal iPhone. Unfold it to binge the bigger display and it'll drain faster. Same trade-off every foldable on the market makes. 4 cameras total, one built into each screen for selfies and video calls, plus dual 48 megapixel wide and ultra-wide lenses on the back. Notice what's missing. Yeah, no telephoto lens. On a $2,000 phone, that's a real cut. And it tells you this device isn't meant to be Apple's best camera, it's meant to be Apple's most flexible screen. Here's the update that matters most if you've been following this story for a while. Back in the spring, most leaks pointed to $2,300 to $2,500. As of the last couple of months, that consensus has shifted down to roughly $1,999 for the base 256 gigabyte model. Still Apple's most expensive phone ever, but a genuinely different number than what was being thrown around earlier this year. Nothing's official until Apple says so on stage, so treat this as the current best guess, not a locked-in price. Apple's expected to show this off at the September keynote alongside the 18 Pro and Pro Max. But showing it off and shipping it aren't the same thing. There's a real chance Apple mirrors what it did with the iPhone X back in 2017. Announce in September, then delay the actual on-sale date by several weeks while production catches up. If that happens again, don't be shocked if this doesn't hit shelves until October. So to sum it up, a genuinely thinner crease than anything on the market, a deliberate trade-off on the action button nobody predicted, and a price that's actually come down from where it stood a few months ago. This is shaping up to be less of a gimmick and more of a real second iPhone category, if Apple can actually ship it on time. Would you actually pay $2,000 for this over a regular Pro Max? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe if you want the moment Apple confirms it breakdown the day it happens.